my pleasure to introduce these musicians this evening. First, Ashley Hall, and she is probably the youngest really good fiddler in this region. And she is from Oldfield. She has studied under Bob Holt. We saw a little bit of him, heard him some too last week. And Gordon McCann is, I think, her agent. He says that she can be the greatest fiddler.
I don't get paid anything.
What?
I don't get paid anything.
I don't know about that. And then sitting next to her is Gordon McCann. And Gordon has been the primary collector of fiddle music in the Ozarks for decades. Some of his work includes this 3D set that Rounder has out, titled Traditional Fiddle Music of the Ozarks, 3 volumes. Has Lacey Hartje on it, and a couple of cuts. And he's also done helped with a number of Rounder releases, such as the one from Bob Holt and Fred Stone King, and others. He has a personal collection of thousands of field recordings, and even after this show, he's going out to Mansfield to visit their last jam session, looks like, before their building closes down. So he's a tireless worker and advocate for the fiddle music of this region. Lacey Hartje is originally from Arkansas, but lived in Joplin most of his life, and has played fiddle in various capacities throughout his life, including a lot of the kind of club scene places in Joplin. Now he lives near Springfield.
He lives between here and Republic.
Between here and Republic. So this is an opportunity. He's a senior fiddler, and Ashley's a junior fiddler, and Gordon's a scholar. So you can get a chance to really ask some questions about this kind of music if you're so inclined. Hope you do. So I'll hand it over to Gordon at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. This will be, to say the least, very informal. We haven't played this together for some time here, so you know what we're going to hear. But since many of you don't know anything about this music, we've got a lot of latitude. We can make mistakes, and you won't even know it. So that always makes these easy. How many here had any musicians in their family? I mean, what we call traditional musicians, fiddlers or guitar players or mandolin players. A few did. A few have. So, but most of them really have never been around this music, even though it's been here ever since they settled the Ozarks. In fact, it really goes back to 1723 when the French settled up in Washington County, up at Old Mines and Potosi and up in that area. And of course, then the Anglo settlers brought in with them. And that little paper kind of explains a lot of things I won't have to say. And what we're going to do this evening is just give you a survey of this type of music. Now, the thing that's always interesting to me about this music is the variety of music they play. Now, remember, all this music complemented dances. Not until modern times. Now they play Over the Rainbow and the Chopin's Farewell and all that. But originally this all accompanied some kind of dance. And of course a lot of the dances are gone now, like the 6/8 time jigs. You don't see that here. You don't see many Schottisches here. But the fiddlers still play these tunes. They just are in the tradition. And of course, she doesn't read music, I don't read music, you don't read music, do you? So it's all been, most of it's been passed down orally from generation to generation. Mostly in families, and so we're just going to give you a little survey of this music, and some of the tunes I'll tell you how old they are, that we know how old we know they are, and everything. And let's see, we'll start off with the hornpipes and reels. 8th of January, Soldiers' Joy and Liberty. Most of you, some of you are familiar with those tunes. Those are hornpipes or reels. But what we've done with them in the Ozarks and in most parts of this country is we sped them up to complement square dancing, especially in this part of the country, because they dance fast. Any of you from Douglas or Ozark County have ever seen those dances, you'll know what I mean. You don't get fat dancing those dances. And we'll play some of those, and then we'll just kind of go down the list of a different bunch of tunes. Oh, what do you want to start? You want to play Little Britches?
That's not one of my good ones, but
Oh, yeah. Well, what do you want to play? Think of us. What about Liberty?
Liberty's okay.
All right, we'll play Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to take these out of here.
Okay. And you hear me now?
I can't hear without them, and I can't play with them, so you know what conversation is. Liberty, right? Yeah. See if it's right.
Play it through a couple of times. That was probably played a lot slower at one time. All these tunes we're going to play, just about all of them, are probably 200 to 300 years old that we know of. And the amazing thing is that few, if any, of the people read music that played these tunes. And yet I've sat down with fiddlers from Ireland and Scotland, played some of these same tunes, and I haven't had to change a single thing I'm doing. And yet it hasn't passed down as music. It's just passed down from generation as they came across the pond, as the old timers said. And settled in the east, and then down into southern Pennsylvania and Virginia and Kentucky and on into Tennessee. And of course, most of our people here, up until not too many years ago, were mostly from Tennessee. It's where practically all the people settled in this area down in here came from Tennessee. I imagine if you check your families, you'll find a lot of your families, if you're from this area, that your grandparents or great-grandparents or something probably came from Tennessee. Well, what do you want to play? We'll play another one here. What's something that could be like a hornpipe that you know? Or a reel or whatever. What about it's January? That's okay.
Did you ever see the dialogue?
That's all right. Now this tune's, did you ever see The Devil, Uncle Joe, or Does Your Horse Carry Double? These tunes, a lot of these tunes, just like the stories, have different titles that float around all over the country. And it's the same melody, but they have a different tune. This originally is Miss McLeod's Reel. If you go to Ireland or England or Scotland right now and you ask for Miss McLeod's Reel, this is the tune they'll play over there. They will play. These tunes, I'd say, would like be from the 18th century, 1700s. And then, of course, as the country became more settled and you get into the 1800s, music began to change. You had, of course, you had a lot of black influence of it, and it mixed with the Anglo music, and you started having some new types of music. Plus, you started having music halls that were moving west and traveled around a lot, and you got into your minstrel tunes then, which is a changed style from these things we're playing here. And one that I can think of, if you play, I'm sure, you play Buffalo Gals, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, this is one that was a minstrel tune, and it's called Buffalo Gals now. In the South, they call it Alabama Gals, but it was a minstrel tune. It was written by a black fella, and what they did with them is whatever town they were in, it was Cincinnati Gals or New York Gals or whatever, but this tune stuck with it. Of course, there's always stories about these. One was the Buffalo Gals were friendly with the guys that were working on the Erie Canal. You know, you always have these stories, and that's where the title came from, but who knows what the title really is, right? What's that in, D or G?
I believe it's G.
D, yeah. Some of you may recognize this But anyway, have you ever heard that melody, Andy? I think some of you might have. Maybe not. You're a different generation. You've been listening. The media has and rock and roll and everything have pretty well dominated what you've heard. But there's still a lot of this music in this part of the country. Well, all over really, but it's more kind of isolated back in the hills. Now, anytime you want to jump in, I do, Doctor. Let's see. You don't play Chelly. You don't play that here. You don't play Schottische, do you? You're wrong. You play a Schottische. Schottische?
Yeah.
This is a dance that developed in Scotland in the 1700s. And when they kind of got tired of it, it moved over to Europe. And the Germans really took it on. And then it went back to the British Isles again, and then over to this country. You don't find it in the rural areas around here very much, but in places like Springfield, and a few out like Freistadt and places like where they had heavy German settlements, they all dance the Schottische. And you get up into the north in Minnesota and Monogos, they dance. Has anybody ever seen anybody dance the Schottische? It's a 1, 2, 3 hop type of dance. It's really a pretty dance. But when it came back, it kept the name, the German name for Scottish is Schottische. And so it's retained that name. There's a bunch of Schottisches, but what do you want to play? You play one that changes keys, doesn't it?
What's that one we play? Rochester? No, I don't know.
We'll just play it.
It's the,
Mystery to
let's see.
Let me move out of the way for you. That's it.
What is that one?
That's what it is.
Did it? That ain't the right tune for that.
Well, that's this is interesting. I'm learning some things new here, you know. You play well. That was it. That
We
was all
played,
right.
that ain't the one we played there, did
That
it?
doesn't make any difference.
Which one?
Let's play a Schottische. That's okay. That's that Schottische. And what do you play? In G or?
I don't know, that's not the Schottische we played though. Let's see, let's see.
Any Schottische is okay.
See.
westerns on television. When the wagon trains all draw up in the evening, they have a fire going, and magically some orchestra or something comes in, and this is what they're dancing in those scenes a lot. They dance side by side, and it's 1, 2, 3, kind of a hop, and then there's a really pretty dance. Now, another dance that we didn't have too much here in the Ozarks, I had it in Springfield probably, was the polka. And they still play polkas, but no, you don't see many people dancing down here anymore. But of course, you get up north, like I said, you get up into Minnesota and those states, and a lot of where you have the Scandinavian, a lot of the Polish and all those people, that's all they do about is polkas. And you know that Red Hills, and you play that, don't you? I will play you a polka. I'm just showing you the variety of tunes that we play. As opposed to, I play bluegrass and all that, but bluegrass, usually the beat's about the same all the way through. It's real popular now, and that's good. There's a lot of good musicians there. But this has way more variety. Of course, this has the history behind it. Let's see. I'm going to have her play another one here, and I'll have you play one too. Just tell a story about one maybe not heard. Another dance that came along about getting towards the Civil War was in Europe. It had come over from Europe, and the South had just taken it in, and were in the southern plantations they were doing it, and then after the war it spread all over the country, and that's the waltz. And there are many, many beautiful waltzes, and in this type of music is where you'll hear some of the prettiest. Let's see, let's play a waltz. You want to play? What do you want to play? Westphalia, yeah. Now this is interesting, the way these names are. This is the Westphalia, which is an old German waltz, and people don't hear these tunes. They don't read music, so they just hear it. It comes out the way they interpret it, and that's why there's such a variety in this music. There's thousands of these tunes, and they're really a branch off of other tunes, a lot of them. But there was an old fiddler in Arkansas, never quite heard things right, and when he got ready to play the Westphalia Waltz, he'd say, "I'm now going to play the West Sedalia Waltz." So we'll play you the West Sedalia Waltz here. played it before.
You wouldn't let me play the A waltz, would you?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah, you like, you know, the A waltz?
I got a better story with it.
Oh,
With the
over the legs? That's a G.
Yeah, wait a minute. I want to tell them the story first.
Okay, you want to? I'll read your story if I play it.
Now, this is another way these tunes travel around. Back during the Louisiana Exposition, which I think was 1898 or something like that, there was a band came up from Monterrey, Mexico. And there was a guy named Rosas, was one of the members of that band, and he'd written this waltz. Well, people really liked it, and they liked this band, and even after the festival was over with, they kept them there for another 2 or 3 weeks. And this waltz just spread all over this country and all over Europe and anywhere. They have fiddle and violin, same thing. It's the person playing it that makes the difference. And this, I say this is the most played waltz. I mean, I'm talking about the Strauss waltzes and everything else. In the world, this is the most played waltz. It's called it's the national waltz of Mexico, Sobre las Olas. And we'll play you Over the Waves then.
Okay.
All right. You remember it?
I wondered why I could play that, you know, it's the most played waltz.
Well, they haven't heard it, so, you know, I told you.
Gee, I'm gonna try it with these. I don't know, I might run.
Made a song in this country called Loveliest Night of the Year or something like that that used to be very popular years and years ago when people danced holding each other. That's way back, I think. I don't think you do that anymore. Really, and this was still you are this really was political change. This is typical of this these things I'm talking about.
I'll try to play it.
I just heard it. that's going into ragtime, and let's see, I'm trying to think. We'll just move on up into ragtime. What's a ragtime tune? Oh, I know, oh, shoot, in C, what did you play in C?
We do East Tennessee Blues.
East Tennessee Blues, that's what I'm trying to think of. East Tennessee Blues?
Oh.
They said the blues, I don't know where they ever
Turn
got
my chair
the name
around
blues.
so I won't hit you. I can't.
Well, I'm getting
I
wondering.
keep worrying about hitting your guitar and don't play. That's the city, ain't it?